Yeah, so I just wanted to keep chatting about Chad and Lolo and Alex, Joseph Ryan, and just some discussion points. I'd be, really interested to hear what everyone thinks. I've worked out how to clear my recycling bin, so yes. If anyone heard I didn't know what to do about my phone running out of time, well, there you go. I've worked out my recycling bin. So I just uploaded a video where I mentioned Chad as the imposer and Laurie as the acceptor of these delusions. And this is not to say that, Laurie wasn't a little bit wacko earlier, but we don't know the situation, for example, with Joseph. And yes, on one hand, if Lolo was in touch, it could have been just phone or email with the Chad saying 2017, yeah, sure, maybe there is some poison that brings on a heart attack and that's been used subsequently. But, Joseph, from what I hear, he possibly has had alcohol issues, drug issues, and, people do die of heart attacks early. That does happen. So, he could have had a blood clot in his leg that's moved up to his heart, any sort of thing like that, right? But, I think the interesting thing to note here is as Chad is getting to know Lolo, he is getting to know about her and her family. He knows that Alex has committed the felony with regards to violence towards Joseph. So he knows that Lolo has someone, a henchman. And, Laurie has been someone that it would have been very easy to introduce light and dark to. Laurie didn't really have close friends as it was. She had family, and people were saying, look, she changed a lot. I'll try to stop saying And I think though, no matter all the marriages and everything, I mean, isolation of an individual and there are various factors that can spark psychosis and delusions, or just these very bizarre thoughts. It's actually not bizarre though for people to believe in this end of times and to be fearful about things and just to take family with them. And we know of many, many cases, don't we? And I'm not just sort of talking about Jimmy Jones and the Jonestown massacre and things like that. I'm talking about families that get driven off cliffs, or, just smaller, nuclear families that are taken out. I mean, because there are a lot of teachings around to do with the end of the world, there are many people that are really scared and frightened about this, and their daily lives do involve thinking about evil, demons. They're suffering thinking, are they deemed worthy? They're frightened, or they're looking for the rapture or whatever it is. And, so I think people are wrongly thinking somehow Laurie's delusions might have been to go so far as to be quite cult-like, although, okay, so she was doing talks in her home and things like that. She was doing talks sort of outside of the church's prescribed realms, I guess, for the last few years. And yeah, she has been sort of putting together her own belief system, true. And everything has intensified as she's gotten to know the Chad's books. And the Chad's books intensified after a certain time period as well, particularly 2017. But, Chad, in 2015, when Chad moved his family to Idaho, I mean, I think there's something, and there's a big shift there as far as Chad and real world manipulations. So it'd be really interesting to know who the main people in Chad's life has been since 2015, and are there other families with some strange movements, new marriages and things like that, because I think we need to find out if before 2018 Chad has got this type of thing swirling around him that we don't know about, because I think, you know, Chad is on a money charge, and who else has given him money? What else does he have that we don't know about? You know, everyone's going on about, yeah, the 430,000, and he certainly wasn't living as a man with means, but is there some secret stash somewhere, you know, that he's building up for his church? And yeah, I think now that Laurie and Chad are separated, I mean, we should have been expecting to see a change in Laurie, that crumbling, that we should be seeing a broken woman, a frightened woman, you know, in that deranged way, really. I mean, I know Laurie kind of looks deranged as she is now, but it's different to how Letitia Stout looks, for example. We should be seeing a shell-shocked Laurie, and we're not. And I think law enforcement need to psychologically break this woman down, because you know, Chad is, you know, don't let Chad get away with throwing Laurie under the bus. What am I trying to say here? Alex, suicide. Yeah, I mean, how did it's not Tammy that died before Charles. Just remember that Charles died first. Chad was testing Laurie and making sure, you know, he wouldn't go ahead and kill Tammy first. He needed Laurie to take action, and, you know, as if he's going to step out on that plank first, right? He's sly, he's manipulative, and, you know, Laurie is Machiavellian in the way that she can, the way that she has drawn in her family members, but, you know, Chad is truly manipulative, and he has a plan as well, and Laurie's a tool to get a lot of money for him together, and whether that was going to start with Joseph's money or not, he could have dipped his toe. Oh, well, you know that I know about light and dark. Joseph is dark. Joseph can go. It's okay because you're freeing him. And, you know, there's also that $1 million. Then, after that April, in the October 2018, then comes out the light and dark list, the Santa's naughty nice list. And Chad knows enough not to go putting a young boy directly on that list as dark. JJ was 4.2 light. How did he get JJ onto the dark list? We know that. Was Chad feeding into Laurie's ear about the dog, about everything with JJ? Because that just seems, you know, I just think he was tortured, that little kid, into, you know, how else was he going to be other than a young boy acting out, a young boy in pain, a young boy in confusion, a young boy that was forced into so many changes. And we all know how hard that would have been for him. And, you know, that would have been a lot easier to see him as dark. Yeah, I think Laurie needs to be broken down, and Chad needs to be arrested. And, you know, because people are really, I mean, you know, of course, Laurie is screwed up, right? But people are just really invested in how just, oh, she's the Black Widow and she's this, that, the other. But, you know, do not for a minute think that Chad isn't up to his armpits in the stink of it all. Yeah, don't be fooled by his doofus, gormless appearance. You know, yes, okay, so Laurie zhuzhed him up, didn't she? You know, he was becoming the attractive man that, you know, she made him feel, with the weight loss and the haircut and, you know, the groovier attire, because, you know, he's always been a bit of a dork. But I think he's always been ambitious. I think he's always wanted more than he's got, and he shouldn't be around to enjoy it. You know, he shouldn't be having the freedom to enjoy it. Who knows what he's got chocked away. But you know, I think it's actually a ploy to screw Laurie up, frankly, with Mr. Means. I love that name, Misdemeanor, I'm going to call him. Yeah, I really think, you know, until she snapped out of it, I mean, she's got to be, the hell is she thinking right now? She's got to be pretty confused, pretty wondering what the hell's going on. Why isn't Chad getting her out? I think he's feeding her all sorts of bullshit anyway. Not that he could get her out anyway, but you know, he should have just tried to pay the bail if he wanted to. He could have, you know. Yeah, this is too long.